possession, give yourself more opportunities to score. That's going to be the difference maker. But here we go, grand finals, game number 1, Fairfield in the white, Marist in the red.
And we're starting off with something pretty spectacular from Soccer Scout, putting that one off the bar, so almost an immediate start. But as we had heard from Fairfield in that interview, that's how they like to play. Keep that high offense. Best defense is a great offense, and trying to live up to it right now. But this is certainly going to be quite the test. Niagara was one thing, but Marist is a whole other. Z-ball open shot, but no contact on target. And both teams getting early looks, but not the finish they're looking for.
Just slightly off there. He was racing in, trying to quickly punch that one home, but I think if he took an extra half second, could have been able to line up that angle a bit better. But both teams, you see the pace of play. It's, you know, about trying to catch that third man off guard as these booming clears are coming through time and time again. But we'll see who can sustain that pressure.
Certainly so, and right now it does seem like Fairfield more than content to just tap that ball over the goal repeatedly, try to boost starve the opponent, and as I say that, Matter grabs one out of the corner. Elysium's going to send another one down, but that pass gets away from them, and now they're going to have to deal with it on defense as Z-ball and Cypher both going on that sidewall, no contact, and this allows Matter to open up into space. The air dribble into Soccer Scout, into the corner. Elysium up, great contact. Better save by Z-ball, putting that one into the corner, and we stay level, but the pressure's starting to boil up here.
That was a huge save by Z-ball, but still Marist on the back foot here, that sustained pressure, but that's a bad touch. Here's a chance for Tones down the middle. Soccer Scout racing after it, has to be able to make that play, and now you can see the defenses of both sides are this is why that they've been able to kind of storm through the MAC conference. Not only have their offenses been on point, but their defenses have given them, you know, second opportunities, chances. They've been able to hold off and stave off, you know, a ton of high octane offenses that we've seen in the past.
And that's really, you have to be solid on both sides. So both these teams are going to have to bring it on both sides of the pitch, and midfield passes coming in are being cut out very well by both squads. It's something that I think we see very routinely out of elite teams within EGF, really just Rocket League in general. The ability to control that midfield, be able to cut out opponents' possession, and as you mentioned, time of possession, such a crucial indicator for a team's success. And right now it's really tough when both squads are really rushing the ball very well in the beginning. Half time here, and we're still searching for that opener.
This is a big air dribble, though. Z-ball, he's going to actually end up dropping this one down, and this is a tough chance here. Maybe over top of one, but a huge save by Cypher, and the rebound going wide. Soccer Scout's not going to be able to find a good angle onto this one, and a clear from Tones, possibly the counterattack here.
As that one reaps around. They don't have that one. Cypher does, but Soccer Scout comes to the rescue off that back wall. Another miss in the backfield, though. Fairfield a little bit in shambles here. They need to be careful, but they can't keep this one out. Z-ball tucks it in on the near post.
What an angle Z-ball finds here. First, he gets this first touch, picks up the corner boost, and Matter here has to judge whether or not he has that angle and tries to backflip to make the save, but ends up putting it in. Would have gone in anyway. He was basically hung out to dry there on defense, and Marist is first to capitalize.
Such a tough feeling when you're on near post. You're thinking, oh, all I have to do is just stay where I am. There's no way they can fit it in between the post and I, but they prove them wrong. Elysium, though, gifted one right down the middle.
What a play here. Matter off the corner, the drop down, and he finds this angle. Cypher, I'm not sure if he was expecting that angle of a shot, and he's able to make the save, but right place, right time, and Fairfield is able to clean up the play.
Now everything reset, final 90 seconds of game at number 1. Back and forth affair, to say the least, from both of these squads. Fairfield is edging out in shots, but ultimately we're seeing an issue here with making sure those shots are quality, but certainly something to take from as some more midfield defense coming out here. Elysium to take that one down, but Tones is the one that comes away with it. On target, generates a double, and even with 2, it only takes 1 to tap it in.
Tones here gets this first touch and then races up the wall, finds the next one, and with 2 players there on defense, not sure where the communication was. Someone has got to be able to make that clear happen, and the first man taking a bad angle cannot get the clear, and Marist strikes again.
That's why comms are one thing, but trust is another. You have to understand where your teammates are, and unfortunately, I think a little bit of miscommunication coming out from Fairfield, and they will suffer by putting in that goal off the deflection. However, still plenty of time. 1 minute remaining. It's not out of their reach, but don't want a team like Marist to be gifted anything. And right now, with low boost, Z-Ball might gift one of his teammates something. A pass in the middle. It's sitting on the back post. Cypher doesn't finish. Tones gets tapped around, and another chance going awry for Marist, but they're just showing they can really press you when they're given an opportunity.
That was a huge chance that somehow Fairfield got away with. They were able to get the clear, and then there was a demo attempt afterwards that could have led to a counterattack, but they missed, and now Fairfield with short time on the clock. Can they do anything here on offense? This one is going to be cleared away by Z-Ball. He has been fantastic here in Game 1, and maybe has an open net here, but no, can't find the bump on the Soccer Scout.
With that demo in the backfield, certainly making Fairfield sweat, but so with this clock. They have to carry it the whole length of the field to keep in this one. Matter, good touch, but Soccer Scout bumps him, and Marist comes away with a slim Game 1 victory.
I was very back and forth, but Marist was always delivering the first punch, and that defense of Fairfield, we heard from Soccer Scout, when Fairfield is on offense, they feel great. That defense, though, was just a little shaky at times, and Marist was able to capitalize.
Yeah, and this is something that I'm worried about with Fairfield, is that at times they play very good defense and their offense is very strong, but at times, we even saw it with Niagara, they didn't get a lot of shots, but there were moments in which everyone on Fairfield was throwing themselves to the ball. The issue with playing fast off of defense and really on offense is that it's tough to always perfectly communicate. We saw that with the second goal, Tones getting a little bit of deflection off the defender and in. It comes from when you're playing fast, it sometimes skips your mind to call your teammate off or to say that I have it, and it can result in some calamitous defending and some offensive blunders, as we saw right at the end. Coming into game number 2, Fairfield needs to amend for that, and Marist, I don't think they need any changes. They're playing very solidly and showing why they are that #1 seed.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's another thing to be said about pace of play, right? If Fairfield is trying to impose this, aggressive, fast-paced play, Marist kind of has the option then to try and throw a curveball at them by changing that pace, slowing it down, possibly getting someone to bite. It allows Marist to have these options if that aggressiveness doesn't pan out as they planned, and you'll see it here on the quick counterattack. Cypher nearly catching both defenders off guard, but Elysium able to make the save.
Soccer Scout tucks it past one. Decent pass in the middle, but Matter can't do anything with it. Scout taking forward, going for a little bit of a pinch, but Elysium's just gonna have to chase that down. They get a bump on a defender and a boost steal, so what can they do with this now that Marist a little bit drained? Matter trying to keep things lively, and they will with that deflection, so onto the sidewall we go. They're just gonna ramp that one. Z-Ball has to stretch, and they will get a crucial touch. Double commit, though, from Fairfield will leave 2 players on the near post. Matter has to do a lot with this. What a pass off the bar, and the double tap. Soccer Scout. Finally, Fairfield will break through in game 2.
The pressure that Fairfield applied, they were starved. Marist had nothing left in the tank. You can tell all the defenders are diving at this ball, just trying to make sure that the shot is not on net, but none of them were. And so Fairfield just kind of ended up closing the gap down in. And that's a dangerous save there from Matter to maintain this lead, possibly. No, Tones can't find that angle, but Fairfield imposing their will on offense strikes first.
And to be honest, this is what makes teams like Fairfield so deadly. If you give them time and if they have enough boost, even if they're missing shots, it's so hard to get the ball out. They're getting great boost steals. They're getting great backboard reads and follow-ups. And if you do it quick enough, it's just going to lock your opponent in that half. Marist is struggling with this, but to be honest, really any team would, how fast Fairfield is playing in the second game.
That was a big clear too. That demo acted as a smoke screen for the shot, but luckily they were able to make that save. And now with 3:20 left, Marist has to find a way to respond. I don't believe they've been down all day today, so we'll see how they respond when they don't strike first.
Certainly so, and some contact not there, and on the fast break, Matter trying to chase it down, but Demo will open up a little bit of space. Elysium slowing the ball down, taking a 50, understanding when the boost is low, not much of a play you can make, but wide open Cypher, that's a play he can make off the backboard, and the follow-up from Tones saved away. Fairfield holding on this lead as we about to hit halftime, but looking to add to it as well, but Matter won't be able to. Ball into the corner.
Such a tricky situation there on the hand of Marist's offense. They had minimal boost to work with and still got a great opportunity, but the other way, Matter dunks it over top of one and makes it 2-0.
Going down one doesn't seem like it in the series. They're playing like MAC champions right now, and Matter getting quickly on that ball. Marist just not able to handle that backboard. Such a crucial ability defensively at this level. So many goals are going to go in by your inability to defend that backboard, and Fairfield taking advantage of it.
It feels like the question now for this Marist team is their boost management. If Fairfield can continue to press and can continue to kind of starve their resources here, they've been able to put up goal after goal, but what a save by Elysium. Ended up punching that. He had to hit that towards his own net. That was the only way he could have made that save, and he keeps the goose egg on the board, but this one will find its way through. Tones answers.
That's so tough. The Fairfield side clenching controllers. They get all these nice saves, and then the moment they break out, that's when Tones will clap one on net just a little bit too hard to save. That's a sign of life from Marist. They still got one more to go. 2-minute drill activated. They're trying to extend that lead, but Fairfield, resurgent in game number 2, is not making it easy.
Ooh, I like the attempt there from Matter, but he couldn't find a second hit. This is a pass across, and the redirect is in. Matter makes it 3-1.
Beautiful pass here coming in, and Soccer Scout looking across. That is fully deliberate. Great communication coming in from the white side here, and 3-1 here, re-extending that lead back to 2. And Fairfield on a roll, and Marist not having much of an answer here. They've had some close opportunities, but Fairfield on both sides of the ball looking really solid as we almost see a fourth in the double, but Elysium on the follow-up will put in that fourth.
The bump comes through on the back line, and Elysium is given plenty of time to make this play. Tones a little too far forward, doesn't see the bump come through, and that makes it 4-1.
So final 2 minutes, as we had mentioned, it's quite a lot for Fairfield to think about and be able to hold on to this lead, but to be honest, we've heard their strategy in the interview. It's working wonders, especially when Marist keeps struggling to clear. Soccer Scout just gifted one on a platter and put that top shelf.
Elysium's dunk left Z-Ball in a tricky spot, and Cypher, he's there. He thinks he's in the right spot, but there's just so much power, so much time and room to shoot that ball. He picks the top corner to make it 5-1.
And I think that is necessarily a symptom of being put under a lot of pressure. When a team is playing so fast, it feels like you always have to play just as fast, and sometimes you rush things. Marist clearing that ball out before it's really has to, and unfortunately, sometimes when you throw it right down the middle, the only person on the far end of that hit is going to be the opponent. So it's a couple times Fairfield has capitalized off of that, and Marist, I'm thinking so they're going to have to really play a little bit more conventional, focus on a little bit calmer defense, because if you're gifting goals in a grand final, that is not the way you want to fall behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think on defense especially, the one thing that has really caught my eye is that it feels like they can get caught on this goal line a lot, especially allowing Fairfield a lot of time and room to shoot, and that's two things that the offense just thrives off of. And even here, unable to find a touch, Elysium just putting the pressure on Z-Ball. That was actually fantastic. That air dribble bought a lot of time for his teammates, but it does hand possession right back over to Fairfield, and now we'll see if maybe with the last 30 seconds if Marist can get something going again on offense.
And this one's really just going to be for the road, because with a win like right here, it's effectively going to turn this best of 7 into a best of 5 as both teams take a win. But coming away from this one, Fairfield has to be confident. This is exactly how they drew it up, and it's exactly how they wanted things to end up. A dominant win coming over Marist, the Goliath of MAC, looking pretty small after this game.
Yeah, what a response from Fairfield. And I think it was important because we talked about how these two teams have both kind of been dominant in their own conference, but whoever strikes first has been, it immediately puts the other team on the back foot. And Marist is so used to being that team to throw the first punch, that Fairfield here in game 2, they found another gear and were able to throw that first punch, and it forced Marist to make a move. It forced them to make a play, and that's when Fairfield was ready to respond. I do think, though, we were talking about how, they were gifting goals at the end. I think it was resource management. Marist was just out of boost and just decided, we got to retreat, shell up, and eventually, we'll block this shot and then get our chance to counterattack. And it just never came because they gave so much space to Fairfield.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of being a cyberbully. It's not my prerogative when I'm trying to cast these games. So credit due to Fairfield. Marist might have been gifting in a certain sense, but at the same time, it does come from that boost steal, that high pressure, the bump play out of the backfield leading up to one of Fairfield's goals. That was the quote-unquote gifted goal. It came from a player hitting it on the backboard, rotating out, bumping a defender, stealing boost, and then rotating out again to be able to cycle back into offense. That movement and that speed from Fairfield is the difference in game number 2. So as we settle into the series, as we go down the stretch here, I think that really has to be the adjustment Marist has to make. They have to make sure that they protect those resources, keep that boost high, and keep that defense solid, because Fairfield is putting them on notice with a game number 2 like that.
And with the series tied up, the sign of a champion is the ability to adapt mid-set. And so this is a pivotal game number 3, I think, for both of these teams.
And as we're seeing some midfield touches here, a little bit low boost here. That's wide open for Cypher, but they're just going to be able to put it onto the post only. Follow-up coming in, generates all 3 coming up for this one. Z-Ball keeping it close, dish across the middle, but only Elysium will be able to get to that one. So fast start from Marist, but still not quite finding the mark. But Tones will send it right back down again. They're trying to do what Fairfield had done last game, lock him in, but unfortunately the counter always there is now Fairfield just trying to flick it onto that back post, but nice touch into the corner will pad their defense for just a little bit.
And it's kind of like playing on a razor's edge, because when you try and, you mentioned it before, when you try and up your pace of your game plan to match your opponents, then it becomes a game of, okay, well then who's going to make the first mistake? Who's going to make the first mistouch to really put themselves out of position? And I feel like that's why Marist had the advantage in game 1. They could kind of throw the curveball once they had possession, but this one is going to find its way to the net. Tones finds the angle.
And so brutal. You see Matter get back, but his flip takes him just too close to the ball, and it bounces over where he can actually reach it. So hoping for a poor shot, Tones is going to unfortunately disappoint him in that matter. A fantastic contact, top shelf far post. No chance on that one, and Marist will be able to get that opening goal, but as we saw from last game, doesn't mean much. Fairfield always going to be trying to be right in the play.
And the reason that he's got to make that flip awkwardly towards the ball is because he's out of resources. Fairfield got a little overextended, but that's the way the aggressive play goes. Speaking of aggressive, Tones dunks 1 for 2.
Sometimes you take a 50 to hold the ball in place, and sometimes you think you have a win. Soccer Scout taking it to try to get the angle, but unfortunately Tones just reads it a little bit better. That's a roller right in. This floppy fish goal explosion will go off for number 2, and Tones looking to be the standout player here for Marist, opening up a nice little lead here, the largest that they've seen in this series. And honestly, with this much space, they might do even more. All 3 committed up. What a dunk, though. On the far side, Elysium can't put it in on the counter. It's going to rattle off the woodwork.
And it feels like these defenses are kind of scrambling to get back. These counterattacks are so quick, but they're able to stall out just long enough, as that chance earlier on the net of Marist was just wide, and an opportunity gone wide. They're going to want that one back, but still plenty of time to respond.
D-Ball plays it slow. That's now exactly what Fairfield is looking for. Off the backboard, Matter will put in the rebound.
Z-Ball here gets caught in the corner, catches the boost, but Elysium once again quick to the play, and the defense of Marist caught inside their own goalie box, unable to get out in time to cut down those angles, and that allows Fairfield to cut this lead in half.
Now, coming into the second half as we cross that 2:30 mark, Marist has given up their lead, and now it's a little bit closer between these squads. Still a ways to go, but Fairfield looking confident marching forward, though, and Maris just trying to keep that pressure. Tones won't be able to with that touch as Soccer Scout into the corner using a meager amount of boost to try to dish something. Elysium will be able to get a shot, but Z-Ball on the counter out of nowhere will roll that one all the way down.
What a fortunate bounce this is. Whoever makes this block, I believe it was Cypher, gets it right out to Z-Ball, who's rotating back, and the recognition from Z-Ball to just launch this one down the field. And Matter, I believe, was the third man back, cheating up on the play, trying to keep that time of possession, that aggressive play going, ends up being out of position.
And unfortunately, we will be seeing some more clears coming out there, but those are such tough balls to be able to react to, as Z-Ball just came out of nowhere to clear that one down. But Tones is coming right down the middle with that one. That's a strong shot, generates a nice save. Z-Ball trying to keep it interesting with a tap into the corner. Not going to be able to get that follow, and Matter going to tap that down the line again. We'll get that boost steal. Dishes it so delightfully, but it doesn't find it in. Can't get that Doomsday dish to go. Fairfield, as always, trying to threaten that net repeatedly, but only 90 seconds remaining to get them back into this one, and that shot not going to do it. Another clear comes out from Marist.
Ooh, that actually bumped. That team bump is going to allow a little bit of continued pressure, but Tones, the dribbles, Tones has been fantastic in terms of relieving pressure from the defensive side, and that killed so much time as Matter unable to get to the play. And now Tones again with a possible shot, and the rebound for Z-Ball will be saved by Matter. Cypher's up for this one. Can he find a shot on goal, trying to leave it for Tones? Still can't find the angle on net though.
Well, 50 seconds remaining. It's really not a matter of getting more. It's holding on to what you have. And counters like that are not what you want to give up. Elysium racing down, pays with his life, but Matter will get the vengeance. 2-3 with 40 to go.
The passing play across and the recognition from Matter to force this play to happen. And Z-Ball, I'm not even sure he wanted the demo. He just was trying to find out where that ball was going to be. And a body block in front allows the dunk to come through. So with 39 seconds, still a chance for Fairfield here in Game 3.
Nice flick, but not quite powerful enough to fool the near post, as Soccer Scout trying to dish that of Elysium has rotated all the way out. Going to take him a little bit to be able to get back into the pressure, and chasing into the corner now. Have to get quite the angle on this one. Not the clear though from Maris though. Under 20 seconds. They need to be very careful. Fairfield, you do not want to have to sit against that back wall and defend everything, but the boost, unfortunately, we mentioned resource management. Fairfield is all out, so they had to retreat back, and now with 5 seconds remaining, they need to find a way to march down this field. And with that ball on the far side, I think Marist, wiping the sweat off their brow, is going to be able to take game number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like that as the game was going on, Fairfield was starting to get a little bit of momentum in that last minute or minute and a half, especially with that last counterattack goal. You know, every time you give up a goal late, you're going, oh no, here we go again. But Marist able to hold on, and again, I feel like the story of this series has been Fairfield is going to, up this pace as much as they can and force Marist into their back third. But if Marist can control themselves, manage their boost properly and not find themselves, overextended or out of position, that's when they find their advantages and they find these couple of slight mistouches on the side of Fairfield.
And that is something that I'm a little bit worried about from both teams, really. But Marist, we saw a little glimpse of that. Fairfield was able to get that second goal because aggression is on a continuum within Rocket League. You can have too much of it and you can have too little of it, and you have to use that situationally. And unfortunately, we're seeing Marist at times have a lead, but they still want to keep pressing. That's fine if you want to keep pressure, but there's no need to throw all 3 players forward when you're just trying to protect the lead. Sometimes you have to understand the potential of Fairfield to break out and play a little bit more passively. I know that's not what these players want to hear at times, but it's going to come down the stretch, and I worry that there is going to be a point of reckoning for these squads where they're going to have to be in a situation where they play passive, and sometimes old habits die hard, and they're going to have to learn the hard way.
I mean, there were times throughout that game where Fairfield, especially, think back to the first minute, we saw a triple commit on one of the first shots of the game, and then about a minute later, they double commit on offense, just trying to get the ball out mid. So the communication on Fairfield's side, when they're playing that fast, is very, it's a double-edged sword type of game plan. You have to be so careful with it, but when it works, it's so oppressive.
Oppressive and certainly impressive as these teams just fantastic on the communication. And even though we have seen a little bit of blips on the radar, a little bit of glitches in the system from some of these squads at times, overall, it's been a very even series. And I'm really excited to see how it's going to progress as we go here into game number 4. But the first 30 seconds, this is really just a continuation of everything we've seen, just high-flying acrobatic plays. And Fairfield trying to lock in Marist in their half, and they're doing a decent job of it so far. A nice possession touch from Elysium is going to be able to set up something out of midfield, but Z-Ball will close the door on that opportunity and go for the boost steal and now the demo. So interesting aggression coming out here from Marist.
Ooh, that was a big save from Elysium, and now the pressure's on Fairfield's defense. Can they find a way to get a stop? That was a good clear out mid, bought a little bit of time, but it is going to give possession right back. That was a huge jump from Soccer Scout. Now the counterattack the other way leaves Elysium with a quick chance and possibly a redirect back to mid here for Soccer Scout, but no. Tones finds the shutdown, but Elysium's angle, crossbar and out. How does that one not find its way in?
I do not even know the answer to that one. That is such a great strike, but unfortunately doesn't go bar down and in. It just goes bar and across, so not necessarily going to work. But this time, Marist on the counter to commit to that one, but Tones, man of the hour, it seems, in this series for Marist, puts him on the board.
This was a huge dunk. I mean, 2 players get the read on this. Z-Ball is up for the first one, and then Tones finds the second angle as Z-Ball racing across. And if you're a defender, you know that hit's gonna come. You're just not sure at what angle, and he's trying to race back to make that play. It's almost impossible with 2 players there. That's a huge save from Cypher, though, as Fairfield try and find a way to respond.
So now first 2 minutes, been fairly frantic, but still only 1-0. But as I say that, Tones, they're looking for something. The floater, the back post, what a save by Soccer Scout off the post and out. Elysium continuing on it to tap it further down, and now the pinch downfield. That's a quick counterattack. Didn't necessarily find the result they're looking for. What a save by Z-Ball. Both teams playing out of their mind defense right now.
The offenses have woken up, and the defense as well just, you know, frames away that ball was from finding its way to the back of the net. Fairfield escaping here, but they need to find some sort of possession. They need to find more pressure. They found a lot of counterattacks, but they need to find a way. When they have had success, it's been Marist caught in their own back third, stuck with not a lot of resources. They need to find a way to open up some space, but look at the play from Tones.
It's a brilliant play, but Soccer Scout needs a little bit cleaner of a touch there, but I don't think Marist has to worry about that. Z-Ball with the cleanest of passes right onto the hood of Tones, and not going to miss that. He is in form, and so is Marist. 2-0 with 2:19 remaining, and Marist, they stumbled a little bit in that game number 2, but they're right back to business here in game number 4.
And the angle he found as well, it's one thing to recognize that it's a pass play to yourself, you know, from Z-Ball, but it's a second thing to sneak that inside the short post past the defender. Speaking of, here's another tight angle, but Soccer Scout able to dribble that one away, and Fairfield, they've been able to get a couple clears here and there, but again, sustaining pressure. They have not had a shot here, it feels like, in the past, 30 seconds going on a minute.
Now another double commit, though. That's going to roll all the way across. Soccer Scout trying to follow this one, drops it to the back post. Matter, it clunks around. It's a little bit like pinball, but it will find the back of the net.
This was huge here. Soccer Scout's recovery off the bump leads to this pass play, and then Matter just believes that it's going to find its way down to mid and just finds the way to punch that ball inside the post, just past the defender, giving Fairfield a second chance at life here.
Soccer Scout going for the demo, doesn't find it. Cypher gets the clear. All 3 red players surging upfield, but no contact made by Tones, and the attack gonna calm down for right now is Cypher back in the middle. Matter trying to find Elysium down the line. Z-Ball will just tap this one down, and those touches not necessarily dangerous on the immediate contact, but they do force Fairfield to readjust, and they do get the save on the follow-up. So all these touches from Marist doing equally well to build pressure, but also to burn this clock off. They only have to last another 60 seconds to put themselves on match point here in this grand final. But Fairfield trying to ramp up pressure, but so far can't break past that Marist back line again.
It's just one small touch here or there. That was a double commit though, and possibly a chance. Is this one on net? Off the post and out. And another opportunity just by the wayside for Fairfield. They come so close, but cannot find a way to put their opportunity home.
Stone's gonna send that one deep, and it's just sitting in midfield. That's a lot of open space. Elysium looks to fill it with an air dribble. They don't make it in, but the ball straight down. Matter, tough angle. Fantastic save by Cypher. Tones helps out on the follow. Final 20 seconds, pandemonium in the Marist half. But boy, do they deal with it well. Another long clear.
They got nothing left in the tank, but boy, was it worth it. Now at 10 seconds, the ground pinch stopped by Tones. Wins the 50-50 as well, just trying to buy a little bit of time as there's short amounts of it left. Do they have anything left in the tank? It's up off the backboard. Double tap, not on net, and it will touch the ground, and Marist goes to match point.
Unbelievable series, what we're seeing here, Soy, and that's exactly what I want out of the grand final. Close games down the stretch, but Marist starting to pull away, but you can't really say that this was a dominating performance because Fairfield pounding the net, 9 shots on target, and honestly, series like that, I'm so excited to see how the rest of this is going to play out.
This was such a close game. I mean, every single game has felt like, even though Fairfield's victory was not a 1-goal differential, it certainly felt like every other game, Marist is escaping by that much. And I really think the story here of that specific game, the recoveries. Think back to Soccer Scout giving his team a chance, recovering off that bump. Think back to the defense, being able to recover from demos and bumps, just in general of Marist side in that last 30 seconds. Their ability to recover from whatever play they just made and immediately get back into the play. It's about finding that second gear, and they are both fighting for this win. It is fantastic stuff.
And it's certainly exciting. I have to catch my breath, and so do the players. So we are actually going to throw you to a brief break. Let the players strategize, think through the rest of this half, give them a little bit of a chance to get some water and refuel. We'll be right back after the short break with the continuation of this grand final here for the 2021 MAC Esports Championships here for Collegiate Rocket League.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
It begins with our mission and values, a culture of innovation and collaboration, achieving a global perspective beyond the classroom, turning education and theory into practice, developing lifelong interests and connections, and striving to make a difference in our communities. Marist College.
Welcome back, everybody. After that short break, just getting the players a little bit of a breather, but I mean, really, Juke in the production booth and Soy and I are all talking about this series. This is exactly what a grand final should be. Back and forth action, and it's such a joy to cast, and I'm sure to watch as well. But going down the stretch here, Marist starting to pull away just a little bit, but I mean, Fairfield right on the back foot, Soy. I mean, this is as close as you can be, and I'm curious to feel like, what do you feel like Fairfield is missing out on here in these latter games as the series has progressed?
I think the one thing that's caught my eye the most are probably the handful of double commits that you'll occasionally see, because as we said before, Fairfield, they play this fast style offense. They try and play aggressive. They try and not allow you time to think on defense. But when you're committing 2 players in a play style like that, it's razor's edge. You can't afford to make that many mistakes. And when you're double committing like that, it leaves the third player in a very awkward spot, because if they make a mistake, all of a sudden it's an open net the other way. But if they get the challenge, in theory, there should be a player to follow up, but that's why the double commit is so risky, right? It leaves that rotation all out of whack. And so it's just those few things. They got to clean up that rotation just a little bit. Those double commits, if those are off the board, I feel like all of a sudden you see what happened in game number 2. But other than that, it has been such a tight game. I mean, each of Marist's wins only by a goal. It's one mistake between these 2 teams that really makes the difference.
Yeah, and when we're coming down the stretch and seeing those mistakes, I think at times with the speed of recovery of these teams, a mistake like that isn't always punished. Sometimes you can get away with it, and sometimes the other team has to scramble just to, get possession of the ball before they can actually turn it toward your goal. But I am curious a little bit about how Fairfield down the stretch can try to minimize that. Because as a fast team, we had mentioned before, you can get on balls quickly and you can maintain pressure. But as you had also mentioned earlier in the series, that double-edged sword is definitely something they have to watch. So 100% agreement within that context of their play. I think, honestly, if they just take a little bit of a breather, keep offensive pressure, but then make sure they are communicating very well, which hopefully this break can help them sit down, because they don't have any lives left. This is match point. Marist is on the verge of being able to take this series and be able to stamp that ticket. I think Fairfield is just as deserving, to be honest. Both teams incredibly well matched. The pressure and defense, I mean, we saw a string of play in that last series that was literally just 30, 40 seconds of just straight shot after shot after shot and goal line save after goal line save. So this series can tilt either way. It's just about that execution, and I think Fairfield lacking that a little bit. Marist does seem a little bit more polished down the stretch.
And on top of that too, like we were talking about, to the time of possession statistic, it feels like it's very even between these 2 teams. But despite that, Fairfield is racking up shot after shot after shot. So the reason it feels a little bit more polished is that you're getting a lot of quantity of chances from Fairfield, but not always the quality is there. And so I think the kind of quick fix for Fairfield, if you're going to continue to play this type of like aggressive offense and you're going to commit 2 people, you can't have both players go for the ball. Someone's got to go for the demo in that case, or the bump, or just sit back, and then you won't get counterattacked as easily. But you can't have 2 players be in the same mindset and go for the same thing. That is what has allowed, these plays to not be cleaned up so quickly. But I mean, again, when Fairfield has been on the aggressive, when they have been on attack, Soccer Scout said it best. They look fantastic when they're on offense, when they are pressuring. But it's the capitalization. Marist, when they get their chances, they don't miss, and that is a huge factor entering game number 5.
And the one thing that I think that Fairfield has seen as a caster watching from Flycam, getting a little bit greater perspective, an issue with playing so fast and ramping up that pressure is almost the flip side of the problem when you're on defense. That resource management with boost, you run out eventually, and sometimes Fairfield will get a couple shots going, but then they have to go all the way back. They don't grab the mid boost, they don't grab pads, they opt to go all the way out to their own corner and then come back in. That gap they're leaving is often filled on the counter by Marist, or it gives a chance that an offensive opportunity that could have been kept going is going to have to be exited and rethought and kind of resources reallocated towards recovery on defense. And I think Fairfield is guilty of that. They're rotating a little bit too quick. They're trying to go for that killer shot too often. And sometimes when that is on the line, you rotate out too far and you're killing your pressure because you're not managing boost well. So just like Marist has to sometimes on those attacks, really make sure they're being very conservative, very finicky with which boosts they grab and which ones they don't. Fairfield has to do the same on keeping that offense. And if the finishing goes up, great. But I think that's a key component on why they're not finding as much success.
Yeah, we did have a technical issue that we were resolving there. And while we are waiting to get into game number 5 here, we'll give one more shout out to our sponsors. Thank you so much to Hercules Tires, Tropicana, Ready Nutrition, and Geico. All of you, a fantastic job helping us set up a tournament like this, and we can't wait to deliver this grand finals. I think one key as we enter game number 5 here that I'm looking for, once again, getting that early start. That first goal is so important. When Fairfield scored first, it forced Marist to try and make a play to get the edge. An early start to the game, the first minute and a half. If Fairfield doesn't find a way to sustain some pressure, I think they're going to be in trouble for the rest of game 5.
Certainly about setting the tone and setting it early, and that has to be the focus on the forefront of both of these teams' mind. But we are back with potentially the final game, but Fairfield gonna have a word or two to say about that title. And so starting off here, they're going to try and ramp it off the backboard. Elysium, nice pressure. It's gonna ramp straight down. Cypher, a little bit of delay on that aerial, but they will be able to tap it out. Tones, a continuation into the middle as Z-Ball chases, but Soccer Scout will be able to temporarily hit that one upfield. And Matter, long clear to the far post. Cypher left alone back there. Matter off the corner. High lob. Elysium doesn't quite have the read, but they adjust well. But off the post. And now Marist on the counter as Z-Ball is the lead blocker. But a great save from Soccer Scout. Back and forth these teams go. But what else would you expect coming into this game 5, Soy?
I mean, you said it best, just the quick counterattack, and this is a huge clear. That last counterattack by Marist was because Elysium are committed to, I believe, a demo on the goal line the other way, and that's why there was only one player back the other way trying to make that save. But look at the aerial here off the backboard once again. Just a handful of these shots for Fairfield are just slightly off the mark, and they cannot find their way to the net. But as I said, first minute, Fairfield has been able to sustain some pressure. They gave up one opportunity, but that was only because they were playing aggressive and trying to boost start.
Now a miss in the midfield there. No harm, no foul, though. Elysium will pick up the pieces, and more will be able to get an air dribble on the backboard. Matter, no shot. We'll just tap it down, but forces an awkward touch from Tone. Soccer Scout chips it up. Elysium actually coming in. A little bit of miscommunication coming out on the side of Fairfield, so have to give up on that attack, but on the far side, we'll see Cypher get a nice shot for Marist, but that's turned away. A dunk from Tones will go to the corner instead, but good job to get some annoying touches and keep some pressure, but 2 minutes in here and still looking for goal number 1.
It's just been very back and forth, but now we're seeing Marist with a little bit of pressure, but this is a huge counterattack. Elysium can find the touch. Yes, he can. Elysium strikes first in game 5.
And we're really not trying to spend all the time analyzing Fairfield. Marist is guilty of the same things we were worried about from the red side. Everybody way too far up on this one, and Fairfield just getting an easy as they like counter and a nice finish from Elysium. Sometimes open net psychologically can be the hardest finishes that you can get in a game, but they do it well, and right before halftime, you see Fairfield leap out to a nice lead.
And that's why being the third man back is so important. It's so key to make the right decision. And right there on that last goal, Marist, the third man, cheated up too far. But here, committing to the play and getting a good shot, but Elysium able to make the save.
That ball just chilling in the corner. Matter off the backboard. Elysium, they're following. It's a light touch. It's off the post instead. Marist not quite getting to that ball in time and almost paying the price of the second goal, but they will survive for another attack, and Matter's going to give it to him as the air dribble into the corner, forces an awkward 50. Z-Ball tries to find a pass, I think, to Cypher, but not able to get that connection they're hoping for. Elysium, though, off the backboard. Tones into the midfield as Matter and Soccer Scout. A little bit of a double commit, but they will maintain possession, and you had pointed out possession's such a crucial stat, but you also have to rotate back. Marist, the long distance deflection.
The third man once again. That is an unfortunate pinch. There's no way Elysium can see that one coming, and he's just too far forward. He's at the midfield line. That feels like it's far enough back, but not in that case, and the pinch finds its way to the net, and Marist find a way to tie this game up.
Under 2 minutes, tie game, not what Fairfield wanted to see, but the way they're playing, can't really rule them out. They're getting good passes, speaking of, but Matter, instead of getting that shot off, will have to deflect it down. Z-Ball, tap onto the backboard. Elysium tries to get it clear. We have a little bit of a rule 1 on the backboard, but they do actually break out of it, so we'll be back to 3v3 here, and just in time as the engaged player, Soccer Scout, will be able to clear that one across the goal, but still not quite out. But a deflection here from Cypher. That's actually going to sit right on the goal line. It's still not out to the corner, but Matter will tap it temporarily. Maris trying to set up camp in the Fairfield half.
This is a dangerous game for Fairfield to play. They're trying to clear this ball out, but there's just players waiting on the side of Maris, just waiting for that booming clear. Be careful with the clear here. The pass in the middle. What a diving save by Matter.
And they're surviving well, but surviving is the key way to describe how they're doing. They're just scraping by. Maris ramping up the pressure. They're looking to take this one in regulation, but you have to wait a little bit longer. That one, no one on the back post. Elysium, no boost on the far post, but Z-Ball, no contact to punish it. We're still going to play 1-1, 30 seconds to go. Fairfield holding on, but for how much longer as Maris sends another one, but a great save out from Soccer.
This is a huge amount of pressure. You can tell Fairfield's defense, they are backed up against the wall right now. They've got a little bit of boost left in the tank, but they've got to find a way to clear this out with 10 seconds remaining.
Now, as we see, a little bit of deflection. Elysium, the high lob. Z-Ball gets a temporary clear. Matter passes it across, but it's not going to reach that far corner player in time. We will see overtime. Fairfield trying to stay alive. They need this win if they want to keep this grand final going. And there's a shot from Maris comes in. This could be the chance to counter. Elysium off the backboard. Do they have a touch? They do not. Matter is going to go over their head as well. Elysium will keep it going with another backboard. Matter coming up. That's over the bar. Tones to the far corner. They don't put it in. Cypher hits it to the corner. What a missed opportunity from Marist College.
A huge chance once again. Just booming clears over top of the third man. The third man here, you have to be careful in these rotations. That's been the only goals in this game so far. The Razor's Edge. One small mistake in positioning is all it takes. It's Soccer Scout from the corner.
Out of all the chances, who would expect the wrong angle dunk from Soccer Scout? What a contact, and we will be seeing a continuation here. Let's go on to game number 6.
And how does Soccer Scout find that angle? He's racing into the corner the wrong way to backflip into it, and just no one on Marist ready for it. There was a player there just not expecting Soccer Scout to race in like that, and Fairfield, they find the answer in overtime, and after all of that, there was so much sustained pressure, it felt like a tale of two halves. Fairfield was off to such an early start, they got that first goal, and then in the second half, Marist, all that pressure, especially late in the game after they got that goal, and in overtime, it was Fairfield. Again, last man back. They got to be able to tell, am I too far forward, am I too far back, and right there, the last man back on Marist, unable to make a play on the ball.
And it's both teams, as we mentioned, getting punished with it. And it's why aggression, as I mentioned earlier, is on a continuum. You have to make sure you regulate it. You can't always be that pressed up. And sometimes there's not much you can do about it. Like that Marist goal, just a crazy pinch that goes straight down the middle. But always have to keep that in the back of your mind. What's the most likely possibility? But also, what's the worst case scenario? And fortunately, worst case scenario seemed to rear its head a couple times, but Marist still getting good chances. They had a lot of shots that were just denied, maybe a little bit sweeter of contact, and we might see a different result. But heading into this next match, I mean, still 1-goal games all around. Game number 2 looking like such a strange anomaly at this point. Every game so far has been incredibly close, and I'm looking for the same as we continue this series. Marist frustrated, on the verge of taking this grand final. They're going to have to play at least one more as we go here into game number 6. Fairfield looking to be a resurgent.
We'll have to wait and see. Tones was shut down that game. He did not have a lot of opportunity to strike. So if they can free Tones' face, the advantage, but we'll have to wait and see because Fairfield, they want to keep up this offense that they had throughout game number 5.
And off the sidewall, Tones trying to make amends for last game. Doesn't get the flick to go. It'll just rocket up to the roof. Cypher off the corner. Z-Ball, great follow, but a brilliant save by Elysium. Cypher on the follow again, and that one is going to get saved a third time, and that's the charm. Tones puts Marist on the board.
Tones' positioning is fantastic. Elysium makes a diving save, and Matter doesn't realize that Cypher's going to get to this ball first, and then Tones, right place, right time, finds that rebound and is able to slot that one in the upper third to strike first.
That's a great finish, and inside that first minute is a relic of former games. We had mentioned first goal in the series, starting off early with a goal is so important for the mentality, but how about 2? They'll have to wait for that one. Cypher rattles it off the post instead, and Marist, hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt them. Game will remain a 1-0 scoreline, but for how much longer? Soccer Scout open shot, but it's just going to be a roller and well dealt with by Marist.
And that defense too, all 3 players were there ready for that shot to come through. Possibly an early here, but not able to find the angle as Matter off the backboard and out. Can they sustain this? The dunk comes through over top. Elysium is going to have to find a way to get this ball back into the red half. A whiff comes through and a possible chance, but Tones, once again, right place, right time.
Matter, I love that touch. He touched it, an immediate whip for Z-Ball. He made contact, but no one from Fairfield up to continue the attack, and now they're all scrambling back, just trying to keep things alive. Off the backboard, Soccer Scout gets a dunk. Matter, last person back, will hit it to the corner instead, not wanting to risk that off the backboard read. Elysium keeping it interesting. Who's there on front post? Cypher will be, gets the flicked off the backboard. Soccer Scout is up, can't finish that one either. And Fairfield's gonna have to wait a little bit longer for that equalizer. Approaching halftime, Palms have to be getting sweaty by now, but the ball still in the Marist half, and Soccer Scout will make amends. That's the equalizer.
Finally, for so long for Fairfield, they had such pressure in the backboard pass here. I think Marist's defense was honestly just out of boost and didn't really know where that next player was going to come from in order to make a possible save at that, but that was so much sustained pressure by the side of Fairfield. This offense coming alive here.
And as we're about to hit halftime, 1-1 close game. Soy, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that this game is so close, but I'm also shocked that no one on Fairfield's going for this. Tones gets a second.
Cypher's hit here, no one expects it. I think he got an extra boost there from whoever on defense went to challenge that ball, but Matter and Soccer Scout not ready for it, just get caught on their own goal line, and again, with half the game remaining, Marist have the 1-goal lead.
I know Marist's entire college with thousands of students, but just a quick glance at the Twitch chat shows that chat is completely standing Tones right now in the chat, and he is popping off right now and putting Marist on his back at times on offense, getting these opportunities, and Fairfield is certainly hoping that he slows down sometime soon because they only have 2 minutes to come back in this one, but it's not easy with continued pressure coming out in the corner, and that one coming across the goal. No one on Marist to punish, but still a lot of quick touches coming out from Fairfield, just desperately trying to clear their lines, but this is a confident Marist squad, and they're comfortable just sitting back in their own half and waiting for pressure to come to them.
Tones has to buy some time here, but Soccer Scout gets the awkward touch. This is a dangerous clear, and Z-Ball is going to be able to make it. Z-Ball has also had a fantastic series so far, but the feed down in, and Tones makes it 3-1.
Time and time again, Tones is going to pop up and stand up and be counted. What a touch by him again on the redirect for 3. Hat trick to his name. And what a way to lead his squad potentially to the Grand Final champion title. Fairfield, what do you have to say? 90 seconds remaining for a response.
They got a minute 30, as you said, and I feel like the question here is, do they have an answer? Can they apply that pressure for the next minute 30? Because they've racked up chance after chance, but they've got to find some space to shoot, and the counterattack from Marist is not going to allow them to do that. Here's another opportunity for the Red Foxes as Tones trying to drop it down in, doesn't have the dunk, but the rebound to ball.
This is so brutal. They're just trying to get a touch. Soccer Scout and Elysium get bumped. Matter tries to take a 50, but unfortunately, if you don't get that flick, if someone gets on top of it, sometimes a 50 like that is going to be no 50 at all. Just a zoom right into the net from Z-Ball. And finally, Tones doesn't have to score the goal, but Marist still well on its way. 60 seconds remaining, 3-goal lead. They are looking pretty here.
With a minute remaining, as you said, I mean, Marist's offense, they felt like they were overwhelmed at times on defense, but when they had their opportunities to strike, they put them home, and they've earned themselves a 4-1 lead. But off the backboard, possibly the rebound will find its way. Fairfield not going down without a fight.
Fairfield not one to disappoint, gonna keep it interesting. Nice follow-up by Matter, and understanding they don't need to slap this one as hard as possible. They just need it on target. With all of Marist scrambling, they will oblige us, and we will be seeing a 2-goal lead emerge here in the final 40 seconds, but they have to be careful here. Elysium off his own backboard. Z-Ball, no punish. Tones on the follow. That's not a punish. Cypher for the third, and will put it home. 1-2-3 to extend the 3-goal lead.
The recoveries that we were praising earlier did not come through in this moment. Soccer Scout can't get out of the bump from Z-Ball, and Cypher, the last man on the rotation, takes his opportunity to extend the lead to 3.
Now a little tap there down the middle. Cypher just gonna roll it down, and they are just high-stepping it to the end zone here. 4 goals from Marist. Fairfield just does not have the answers.
Matter thinks that Soccer Scout, after he gets that touch, is going to be able to get the dunk, but no one expects the roll underneath, and that is all Marist needs. It would take a miracle now for Fairfield to come back.
And I don't think they have it in them. I don't even think the concept of what is realistic in this scenario has it in them for this Fairfield squad. They gave us a heck of a grand final, but at the end of the day, Marist pulling out all the stops near the end of this series. They will be your 2021 MAC Esports champions.
What a series, what a season, and the Marist Red Foxes, when it all mattered, made each and every shot count. 6-2 in game number 4. Capitalizing on just a few mistakes here and there. The shots were dead even at 9 apiece, but Marist, the strikers, the accuracy they found came through in the clutch in this set.
I mean, you cannot ask for, I mean, technically you can, but 66% shooting in a grand final match point game, that is going to be very hard to top. Fairfield had quite the task in that match, but Marist, I mean, all those games leading up to this, so incredibly close, and it just feels like you're waiting for that breakout moment. You're waiting for that moment for a team to come alive and really start ramping things up. And Marist, once they smell blood, like sharks, they're just going to swarm right to it. And just as red as those colors that they're playing under on the field, they will take that win. But Tones, what a performance all night long.
Absolutely. I mean, the way that Marist played between Tones and Z-Ball specifically, that dynamic duo really had pop-off moments, and Tones was just right place, right time when it counted for Marist. He was an absolute striker for this team, and he has been all season. Typically, it's Z-Ball who has been, the striker on this team, but Tones came to play today and helped his team earn this championship.
Certainly so, and hopefully we'll be able to pick their brains. We're going to throw you guys to a brief break here, but we'll be right back with an interview with the winning side, and we'll try to see what went into that fantastic grand finals win from them. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more. And we are back with an interview with Marist College, your 2021 MAC Esports champions here for Collegiate Rocket League. And we have the blessing of all three of those players in the booth with us right now. And guys, I'll try to take you guys one at a time. How does it feel after 16 weeks of play to lift that trophy?
Well,
I'll go. It's feeling pretty good. We didn't know if we were going to beat everyone this time around. Everyone's improved so much. So it feels even better this time, even though we won last year too.
What was the kind of the mindset of the group heading into a grand finals against a team, that throughout this series, it felt like every game was just about a 1-goal game aside from, this last one and game number 2. How do what was the feeling in the room as the set was going on?
Well, first it was Fairfield, credit to them. They we played them last year and they almost feel like a completely different team. But they're really, really fast, and we were just trying to keep our cool, just cut off any angle we can get. A lot of the times, we would just push onto offense, steal their boost, and just, even if they weren't strong hits, just keep hitting and kind of get them out of their groove.
Yeah, in grand finals like this, where obviously there's a lot at stake, you guys having, of course, secured your spot in those EGF finals next month in April. But one thing that I'm always curious about is players understand that when you're playing on EGF, you have an audience watching you. But we had quite a lot of people in the chat. But do you guys have